Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 51, Future DJI Drones Blacklisted. Hope everyone is doing well. First of all, we're going to wish a very Merry Christmas to everyone. Got some special Christmas greetings we're going to do towards the end of the show tonight. Probably going to have a very abbreviated Steeler Nation, probably at like 5 to 9. It's not going to be very long because I know a lot of you guys are busy and family, friends, all that kind of good stuff. And I get you. Okay. First of all, it was a very abbreviated trip to Columbus, Ohio. And I mean, very abbreviated. We got there Wednesday. We unfortunately had to come back home Friday, and it was because of me. Went to a standalone emergency room Thursday night, diagnosed with a viral infection, tested negative for COVID and for the flu, which was good. However, I had an uncontrollable cough. I was running a fever, and our granddaughters, we got to see them for the better part of 2 days. They had just gotten over a bunch of stuff, and you know what? It was our youngest granddaughter's 3rd birthday on Saturday, and we just didn't want to get them sick again. So, out of an abundance of caution, we just packed our bags and left on Friday, which it worked well because we were able to get flights back. But the wonderful thing is we got to sit in the airport for 4.5, almost 5 hours before our flight left. It didn't leave till like a little bit around after 5 on Friday afternoon, but all is well. But I have to tell you this, okay, guys, it was, I'm telling you, it was just unfreaking believably cold up there. It was, Wednesday and Thursday weren't bad. It was probably in the 30s, maybe close to 40, but Friday was 20 degrees and the wind was 20 to 30 miles an hour. It felt like 8 degrees outside. It was brutal. It was really bad. We had thought we were going to go after we checked out of the hotel, maybe stop and get a bite to eat somewhere. We just headed for the airport. And we parked ourselves, found a good spot by the gate, parked ourselves there. Had a place to plug in our phones. And there was some great food options right there, literally like 10 seconds away. So we ate pretty good and we passed the time and it worked. It went all in all, it went pretty well. And we got exit row seats, which was even better. But it's bittersweet because we didn't get to be there for Addie's 3rd birthday, which was a real bummer. We were really bummed out about that. And one thing that amazed us, because it had been about a year since we had seen them, our oldest granddaughter, Ellie, has grown tremendously. And our youngest granddaughter is now the spitting image of her sister, okay, Addie. She looks just like Ellie did at that age. I mean, just a spitting image. Hair, height, mannerisms, everything. And she is pretty penny chatterbox. I mean, just 900 miles an hour, won't stop. It was such a joy. It really was. And of course, we brought them some gifts ahead of time, so we got to see them enjoy some gifts before we left. We left main Christmas gifts with them. Of course, what we did was we ordered it on Amazon and have Amazon deliver it there and have it in gift wrap, so we don't even have to worry about that. And just love for grandma and grandpa. So and Mandy and Victoria, my son-in-law and daughter, they know which ones are which. So got all that squared away, and it was wonderful. We got them some. Our oldest granddaughter's real into Barbies right now, so Valerie got her a nice Barbie set with it had a case and little clothes racks for hangers and all that kind of good stuff, and another Barbie. And our youngest granddaughter, Valerie, got her a Frozen, the Disney Frozen, a tea set, and she loved it. She sat there. The girls were on the floor pretending to have tea and everything, and it was just wonderful. It was priceless. I got some good video of that. I did do that. So, but again, it was really kind of bittersweet having to leave early about that. So, but anyway, we do have a lot to talk about. Ron's going to join me here in just a little bit. As far as that was concerned, I hope you guys had a chance to watch Drone Nation last night with Koopy on. And Koopy, you were spot on last night. I don't think you've ever been better. Seriously, you were extremely spot on last night. Nailed it to the wall. Just thank you. Really, you really kind of spoke for a lot of us, and you did a great job. And I wanted to make sure that I called that out for everybody to everybody. You did fantastic on that. So I'm finally getting better. My cough, believe it or not, I ended up taking Delsym, DELSYM cough medicine. It's I did some searching on ChatGPT and Grok, and it really is an excellent cough suppressant, and it worked. The other stuff I had didn't work. I took it, boom, my coughing subsided. Next day, after 2 doses, it was gone. So it worked really well. So I'm real thankful for that. Still got a lot of drainage and junk going on right now, and a little on the tired side. But other than that, hopefully we're going to get better here, because as you guys know, in 2023, I was sick as a dog. Christmas Day, I had 102 fever, not COVID, but it was just bad. Had the flu bad. And then last year, when the kids were down, every one of us was sick. Every one of us was sick. It was just not COVID, but this year, hopefully, I'm going to be okay enough on Christmas Day that we can go ahead and go out to eat. We have reservations at a local restaurant here in Tampa, and that's what we like to do Christmas Day, because Valerie's family's they do things like Christmas Eve kind of a thing. Well, they're not even doing that this year, because everybody's kind of hither and yon. So what we're doing is on Christmas Day, we're going to meet Valerie's daughter and her husband out and we're going to take them out to dinner and just have a real nice relaxed time. No cooking, and that's the way I like it. And tomorrow night we're going to do Domino's for dinner. We've made an executive decision on that. So all right, guys, enough of all this. So Michael, thank you. Yeah, pretty much. No, we're doing better. Okay. One of the things there actually are a couple of things that I wanted to go over before we get to the main body of things tonight here that we're going to talk about, and we are going to spend some time on this. And I do want to get you guys 100% as best and accurate information as I can. All right, the first thing is the Osmo Action 6 got a firmware update, and in that firmware update, it now has the capability of being able to do 8K. 8K video at 30 frames per second, and there it is right there. Firmware update nobody saw coming. Added support for recording 8K video. Added upload feature enabling footage upload to Baidu NetDesk, Quark NetDesk, OneDrive, Google Drive, and NAS. Added film style tone presets in photo mode. Added QS button customization options. Added support for custom mode and aspect ratio. Added focus peaking assistance. Added support for gesture control. Okay. So there that is in a nutshell. I wanted to make you guys aware of that. Again, I was able to get all these articles to Build a Drone Reviewer on the Facebook group. So peruse that if you have an Action 6. I don't know too many people that have bought an Action 6, okay? My Action 5 has done really, really well, and I'm very content and very happy with it. And the gains that you get from the Action 6, for me, they're not there. So unless somebody said, "Here, we'll give you a new one for free," that I'm sticking with my Action 5. It's doing really well. I'm very, very pleased with that. So all right. Let's see here. Okay. All right. We're going to share this too. There's another article I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, new DJI Osmo 360 firmware update boosts social and live content. Let's take a look here and see what all this is about. Osmo 360 marks. Okay, all right. DJI's newest firmware, along with the Mimo app, focuses on making the camera more useful for modern content creation, especially social media. Vertical video support is the headline feature. The update has a native 9:16 aspect ratio when shooting in single lens boost video mode. You can now record vertical clips at 2.7K or 4K with frame rates ranging from 25 all the way up to 120 frames per second. This means cleaner workflows for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. No awkward cropping required. Another big addition is live streaming using single lens mode and DJI Mimo app. Osmo 360 owners can now go live directly from the camera. You can even switch between the front and rear lenses during a live stream and save a recording locally on the camera at the same time. A handy feature for creators who want both live engagement and post-event content. Okay, that's interesting. For anyone who shoots under artificial lighting, DJI has added an anti-flicker stabilization mode designed to reduce flicker in tricky environments like gyms, indoor arenas, or nighttime city scenes. Okay, well that's good. That's an absolutely nice update for that. And I from what I hear, a lot more people are starting to get into purchasing that. So I think that's a good thing. And I'm sorry, you know what? I made my biggest error of the night. I didn't greet everybody. So let me take a couple of minutes here. Warren is here, Dre is here, Bud Bieber is here, Gator Drone, Joni Oki. Let's see who else we got. RJ Redding is here. Gator Drone is here. Jim Anderson is here. Sergeant Rock is here. Captain Ray Kelly is here. Well, good to see you, Ray. Let's see. I know I saw Richard here, Fly Guy Merrill, Drone Eagles, Sergeant Rock. Koopy is here. Welcome, Koopy. Greg Pittman, welcome, Greg. Good to see you. Carlos Moran, welcome, Carlos. Okay, I think we got everybody covered. I'm sorry, I usually do that right off, and I don't know why I didn't do that tonight. So my apologies on that. So absolutely, my bad. Okay, so there was an update to the Osmo 360, and it really sounds interesting being able to do that live feature. And I think that's something, if you guys have that, I think that's something worth checking out and investigating. That does look very interesting. So, maybe you guys can go ahead and try that out there. So, okay, here. Let's see. I'm going to show this article, and I know this is really kind of I show it with mixed feelings, okay? And what the article is, and this was from Drone DJ from today, and what here's Ron. Hey Ron, how are you?
Good evening, Bill. How are you feeling?
Better. Better. It was not fun. And I was sharing with everybody how on Friday the high in Columbus was 20 degrees and had a the winds were about 20 to 25 mile an hour. So the wind chill temperature was about 8 degrees outside. It was brutal. It was very brutal on Friday.
Big change to the system.
Yep. What I'm going over now is Drone DJ came out with an article, and we're going to lead into the main topic here in a second here. What products DJI has in store for 2026? And I know it's kind of like the cart before the horse, but I do want to go over this before we get into the main subject here. Okay. Now they do talk about the Lido X1, which again, it's one of the ones that's already been approved by the FCC, and we really don't know a lot about it. We've seen a picture of the arm of the Lido, and we've also seen a picture of the FCC label, and that's really about it. We don't really know more than that. Don't know if it's going to be a replacement for the Mini, or if it's going to be a new series for DJI. No one really knows.
We suspect it may be the DJI version of the Sky Rover S1.
Yeah. Okay. That's
which is good, kind of a upgraded Mini 4 Pro. I mean Mini 4K. Exactly.
Now, what we do know, and we do have a little bit of information on, is the Avata 360. Okay. The Avata 360 will likely be a sub 250 gram drone with 2 ultra wide video cameras for 360 video. How will this compare to the A1 is unknown. All right. DJI is much newer to the 360 video market, so whether it'll be as successful as anti-gravity using the XS technology is unknown. And again, that has also been approved by the FCC. So when these drones that are approved by the FCC come out, we'll still be able to purchase them, and we're going to talk about that
through eBay.
Through eBay, right? Okay. Non-drone products here. Okay. I talk about the RS5 and Osmo Mobile 8P, and there's really kind of no dates on that. The Osmo Pocket 4 and also the Avata 360. What we do know is we're looking at January dates for that. And I know, Ron, you talked a little bit last night about the Pocket 4, that there's going to be 2 different versions of
that. That's what the rumor leaks people all over Twitter. Not the big guys like Igor and Jasper, but the newer guys. They were all talking about 2 versions, a pro version, which will have the 2 cameras in, which we've seen those leaks for a while now, and then a normal version with just a wide angle camera. The pro would be more or less have the same camera setup as the Air 3S.
Okay.
I mean, just rumors, leaks,
Right. Now, the other one was a DJI Power 1000 Mini. Yes. And again, there's really no timetable on that. Haven't seen any FCC approval on that. I think it does need to have firmware updates, and it does have Bluetooth, so it's going to need to get that approval process on there. So, all right. Well, one of the things that I wanted to do here was I wanted to spend enough time on things here. And we really wanted to go ahead and talk about this. All right. Now, I got to say this, Ron, you guys had a great show. Koopy was spot on last night. Really, really, really enjoyed listening to him last night. And John, I know you're in the chat. Well done last night, John. He was spot on the whole night. Okay. First thing that I want to start off with is, all right, let's not, and this is something I've been trying to get across to everybody. This is not a doom and gloom scenario here. Okay. Our drones are not shut down. I can pick up any of my drones and fly them right now. There's no problem with that. I can go out there and buy anything, including when they get released from eBay, an Avata 360 and a Pocket 4, if I so want to do that. All right. So, there's no restrictions as far as.
And the nice thing is that document list, people have been afraid of, but that document says exactly what you said to document. So there's no fear, because that document from the FCC lays it all out. Your existing equipment will work. It won't be bricked. It won't be taken away from you. Just like you said, that quells a lot of false rumors that's been going around, Bill, for most of this year.
Exactly here. And I want to go over a couple of things with this before we get into some discussion here. I want to go over this main article that was on Drone DJ, and I'm gonna share that it was a PDF that was embedded in this article here. What the FCC just did and what it didn't. Okay, new drone models cannot be legally imported. New components cannot enter the U.S. supply chain. Future product launches from affected companies are effectively blocked. Okay. All right. Why this moment felt inevitable, and we won't get into a lot of this. The national security rationale, tools for surveillance and intelligence collection, platforms capable of delivering payloads, network systems embedded with communication hardware, dual-use technology with military and paramilitary potential. Okay, that's the reasons that they said that they're instituting the ban. All right, federal agencies highlighted several specific risk leaks to foreign produced drones, unauthorized surveillance over U.S. territory, sensitive data exfiltration through telemetry and imagery, remote access or manipulation via software updates, supply chain vulnerabilities that can't be fully audited here. Okay, what major events matter here? The United States is preparing a host of global events, including the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the America 250 celebration, and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic and Paralympic Games here. All right. The move also fits squarely into a broader industrial strategy. Earlier this year, President Trump focused on restoring American airspace sovereignty and unleashing American drone dominance, both of which argue the U.S. must build a secure domestic drone ecosystem. All right. And it really gets into a lot here. What I want to spend a few minutes here on the actual, now it's the actual public notice that was published by the FCC. And again, there is a link embedded in this article, and these articles are out on Build a Drone Reviewer on Facebook group here. So let me go ahead and we're going to share this PDF here. Let's do that. Okay. All right. Public notice. It gets there's a lot of intro stuff, but I did actually read through part of this, and it really, I mean, the articles that Drone DJ talks about, they do address some of this. Okay, equipment authorization, impacts of the covered list. It's very specific. Okay, they really didn't leave anything out. Now, these are things covered equipment or service. Okay, a lot of things right down here, and then it goes down to December 22nd. Uncrewed aircraft systems and UAS critical components produced in a foreign country, and all communications and video surveillance equipment and services listed in section, and it lists it right there. This inclusion of producers or providers of equipment or services named on this list should be read to include the subsidiaries and affiliates of such entities. All right. So they're really trying to cover their bases here. President Trump noted in the Restoring American Airspace Sovereignty Executive Order, UAS, otherwise known as drones, the potential to enhance public safety as well as America's leadership in global innovation. But criminals, terrorists, and hostile foreign actors have intensified their weaponization of these technologies, creating new and serious threats to our homeland. All right. And there's a lot of this in here. All right. Summary of supporting evidence, federal planning for the FIFA World Cup and 2028 Olympics. President Trump unleashing American drone dominance. Executive order establishes a policy of the United States to establish a resilient and strong American drone industrial base. In order to achieve this goal, we must cease the importation of all new foreign manufactured UAS and SUAS critical components. Additionally, President Trump's restoring calls for the United States to scale up domestic production and expand the export of trusted American manufactured drone technologies to global markets. Given the increasing importance of UAS to U.S. warfighters, first responders, and business owners, it's critical to U.S. national security that the United States has domestic supply of UAS made with U.S.-produced critical components. And I want to stop right here for a second, okay? All right. I saw something today that was really interesting, and I'm not going to show you the picture. A lot of you remember, obviously, you remember the end of World War II, right? You remember that it was a Boeing B-29 that Superfortress that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All right. Well, what was real interesting was I saw a picture today, and it said, and this was a Russian plane, and I'm like, okay, what do you mean here? I thought, okay, it's a B-29. No, what the Russians did was they got a couple of B-29s and they completely reverse engineered it. This is in 1945, all right? And believe it or not, all right, the Russian version of the B-29 was better than the American version. I was reading through that today, all right? So, why, and this begs the question, and I'm going to kind of stop right here for a second, all right? This kind of begs the question, Ron, why can't our companies here in the United States reverse engineer this incredible technology from DJI?
I guess from a legal aspect, a business aspect or whatever, DJI probably has patents and intellectual technology, and that's recognized all around the world. Because if it wasn't, they could do the same thing back to us on other devices.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's really well taken.
I mean, I'm trying in my head to think something that we make it's crucial, but there's got to be something out there they can just do it. That's well, like for years, people complained for years that they used to say China used to steal, the Windows software. I mean, they would have stolen versions of Windows, Microsoft Office, and all that, over there, not pay a cent for it.
Yeah. Warren, you're right. It is. That's why we can't do that. Okay. And I wanted to bring this up as a point of discussion because I know a lot of you have asked that question before, why they can't reverse engineer something like this.
Where you mentioned a war situation, kind of a lot of these rules go out the window in the middle of a world war.
Exactly, Ron. Exactly. Now, Koopy left a great comment on Build a Drone Reviewer, and I'm going to go ahead and I want to share this with everybody because I thought it was very relevant here. FCC chairman who couldn't wait to do this is playing the smallest violin for DJI. No idea why DJI thinks they'll be able to get a DoD DHS exemption either. That would end up getting ignored and trashed too. While there have been many third-party audits, the problem with all of them is that they have largely been done from the outside looking in, so to speak, with limited access to portions of the code. DJI have really needed, in my opinion, to submit something similar to Microsoft's government security program. It's very invasive because all of the source code can be reviewed, but it's the best way to build trust in a system that's not open source. The Chinese government would probably never sign off on allowing DJI to do that. It would open their intellectual property to be deeply security audited and accessed by the United States. It's mostly too late for that now, though they needed to offer all this up years ago, long before they ended up in this mess. I wish them luck in getting an exemption, but the 8-ball says outlook not so good. Okay, and I wanted to share that because I thought that was a real good comment that Koopy left there regarding this, Ron. It's and I've been doing a lot of thinking since we were on the show last night, and one of the things to me, and I have to say this because I did read through, and you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. That's one of the things that I wanted to do here was I want to go through DJI's response because I thought this would be something really good to share because we really kind of didn't have this information last night here. All right. After the U.S. government moved to effectively block new foreign-made drones from entering the American market, DJI has spoken out, pushing back on the decision and stressing that current customers and ongoing operations remain unaffected. Okay. The statement released after the U.S. FCC added foreign-made drones and critical components to the covered list, DJI told Drone DJ it was disappointed by the move, noting the company itself was not singled out and that no details have been shared about evidence or analysis used to reach the determination. The lack of transparency, DJI argues, is a major concern. While DJI was not singled out, new information has been released regarding what information was used by the executive branch in reaching its determination, the company spokesperson said. DJI has long maintained that concerns around its drones, particularly claims led to data security and national security risks, have never been supported by concrete evidence. In its response, the company doubled down on that position, saying its products are among the safest and most secure on the market, backed by years of reviews from U.S. government agencies and independent third parties. Concerns about DJI's data security have not been grounded in evidence and instead reflect protectionism, DJI said, framing the move as a departure from open-minded principles rather than a measured security response. The language underscores the frustration DJI has voiced repeatedly over the years that despite audits, code reviews, and government testing, the government has never received a clear pathway to fully resolve U.S. security concerns. Instead, critics say DJI has watched the clock run out as regulatory pressure steadily mounted. What the new restriction actually does, and we already know that here. That said, the door is not fully locked either. According to the FCC, new products could be approved in the future if the Department of Defense or Department of Homeland Security determines a specific drone or class of drones does not pose an unacceptable risk. That carve-out matters. It means the policy is not a blanket permanent prohibition written into law, but it also places the burden squarely on a national agency or agencies to act, something DJI and its supporters argue has been missing for years. For now, that uncertainty leaves U.S. drone buyers in limbo when it comes to future DJI releases. But in a statement, DJI made a point of reassuring its existing U.S. customers, repeating that the U.S. government action will not affect customers who already own DJI products, and that these existing products can continue to be purchased and operated as per usual. The company also struck a more emotional tone, thanking U.S. users who have publicly defended DJI amid growing political security here, okay? Pressure shifting from manufacturers to users, and I'll let you guys continue to read that article. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to go ahead and share here, and I thought this was really important because I know some people had some kind of concerns last night in the chat when I was on Drone Nation here, was I wanted to share this, and I think this is really important here. And there is a link in the description for this, okay? If you have never downloaded DJI Assistant 2 Consumer Drone Series, do it now, all right? And when a new firmware update comes out, instead of doing it the normal way, okay, do it through DJI Assistant 2 Consumer Drone Series, okay? You're going to need to do that because if for some reason something gets wonky with trying to do it from your RC2, okay, or R2 Pro, all right, you'll be able to do it through here, all right? This is it's the actual firmware update itself, all right? And I learned how to do it a long time ago. It's kind of like writing, kind of like people saying, I'll never forget. I think it was the first show I had Kelly Shores on, and he said, a lot of people should just try, turning it into quote unquote, try flying in acro mode in their backyard, just to get used to the feel of the drone, to really truly be able to control it without a lot of what we normally use, to be able to really, it's kind of like seat of the pants flying kind of a thing here, all right? And it's kind of the same way with this, because it does require a little bit more effort to do this, but I'm going to encourage all of you to go ahead and do this here, because your next firmware update, instead of doing it via the app, do it here. Do it versus DJI Assistant 2 Consumer Drone Series. And you can see it has listed here everything from the Mavic 2 all the way up to the DJI Neo 2. And that includes the Mini 5 Pro, Mavic 4 Pro, RC Pro 2, everything. DJI Flip, it's everything. Everything that's currently out there is on that list. So do yourself a favor, go out there, grab that. And again, I put a link in the notes here. Okay, so go down in the description and grab that link and do that. I think that's important, Ron.
I've used it before when I've had some kind of issue to help fix software issues on the drone, but it's been 5 years since I had any issues with the upgrade on any of my DJI drones.
Yeah, and that's the only time that I've really kind of used it, was like you said. But I think in this instance, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and go out there and do that. All right.
I mean, and also back to the statement they put out yesterday. This is Brandon Carr and the FCC. They didn't say anything about no stopping future updates. Neither DJI or Brandon Carr, nobody ever said anything that updates won't be available from here on out. So anybody that thinks
right,
we won't be able to get updates, you're basing that on no information given by anybody.
Right. So that's one thing that you guys can rest assured for now. But what I wanted to do was to show this to you, and do it once. Okay, I'm not saying doing it every time, but the next firmware update, go through this process and do that. Okay, You know, so it's a little more. It does require a little bit more work than you normally would just pushing a button on your controller. But this is something I would encourage you guys to do, because if for some reason it may be the only way we may be able to get the updates for a period of time. I'm just going out there and saying that, guys. Okay, as far as going forward. And
yeah, I mean, possibly again, nobody's said anything about you not being able to get mobile updates. So speaking of updates, in a bigger, broader sense here, with us, not being able to get new drones from DJI going forward, and and you said about drones coming out, probably see like a Air 4 could be due next year and so on, and Vada 3, they bring new features. But do you think that DJI, since America will be flying older DJI drones for a couple of years, do you think they'll add more, functions and stuff to our older drones? Maybe US only updates to make our older drones more functional. Right now, they may hold stuff back because they only want the newer drone to have it, right? But since there is going to be no newer drone for the US, maybe they'll throw a feature on an older drone.
I think you're probably right, Ron, and I think you'll see something unique from a company. Okay, I think as far as like your Mavic 4 Pro, your Mini 5 Pro, your Neo 2, the latest version of these drones. Okay, I think they're going to sell these drones for quite some time. All right, even after say a Mavic 5 Pro comes out, or a Neo 3 comes out, or a Mini 6 Pro comes out. All right, they're still going to be selling these drones for a while to the U.S. market. Okay, so they'll still be produced. They'll produce them in mass quantities. There'll be batteries available. There'll be props available. But is I've been sounding this bell for a long time here, guys. You need to now that this is in cast in concrete, so to speak. This blacklist. It's not a ban. I like the word blacklist. All right, because it's on the blacklist. You need to go out there now and get batteries. You need to go out there now and get props, okay? Because you'll notice literally, okay, if you go out on eBay, these prices are going to jump, and they're going to jump tremendously, all right? Because I know you guys were talking about Crucial and memory last night. I know Koopy brought that up, and how the price of memory has just skyrocketed, and RAM and everything.
Right,
it's gone through the roof as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I think another thing came out in that memo that made it clear too that the DJI drones that currently have their FCC approval, they'll be good, but also the parts for those drones are so they're not going to blacklist DJI Mavic 4, Neo 2, Mini 5 Pro parts or whatever. Our only problem is, and we have mentioned, Shed, those parts, are not getting through regular channels. Has nothing to do with this, thing that came out yesterday, the restriction ban, blacklist, what you even call it. That all goes back to the Uyghur thing. If the Uyghur thing didn't exist, we could go right back to ordering DJI drones from the DJI website, getting our care refresh, and getting all the parts and stuff in too, because these drones are already certified, and that would be fine according to the FCC yesterday. But again, but even beyond that, so parts, you should be able to get the parts from South Korea, China, Japan. If you can still get Air 3Ss and Mavic 4s and Mini 5 Pros, the parts should readily be available too, because they're not illegal either. The parts for the new drones will be, but not the older drones.
Exactly.
The only thing stopping them in the U.S. is the customs people, whatever. And we've been dealing with the customs issue for like a year now, whatever, the Uyghur thing. So people see, a lot of people that don't, that aren't into as much as don't understand. There's two different things going on. There's the FCC, whatever they're doing with the, not certifying any new drones or whatever. But then there's the Uyghur thing. They're stopping anything from DJI, and that's got nothing to do with the FCC not authorizing new drones.
Right. It's the forced labor over, the United States government has been accusing DJI of using forced labor, the Uyghurs, to go ahead and and make some of their drone components, and when that's not been the case, because the Uyghurs are not located in Shenzhen. Everybody knows that. So it's kind of like Yeah, it's like this, it doesn't mean it doesn't.
And people say, the Uyghurs make it, but half the time people say they use the DJI drones to spy on the Uyghurs. So I don't know which one it really is, Bill, but probably neither one of them is true. So it doesn't matter what false claim they're making, whether it's they force the Uyghurs to make the drones, whether they use the drones to spy on the Uyghurs. Either way, it's an unproven claim. We'll put that
exactly. Way. Okay. And, I would say if you want to write your congressmen or senators or anything, write them about this, because if they do that, if they can get rid of this Uyghur ban through customs kind of a thing, all right, we can be able to buy through normal channels anymore. Okay.
And get our DJI support back.
And get DJI support back as well, too. Exactly, Ron.
They'll be able to support the current drones. And that would be a big step up. And I would make a big thing about this, but you saw the person that started the ball rolling on the whole Uyghur thing was Elise Stefanik, House representative from New York, and she is going to resign at the end of her term next year.
Right.
So the person started this will be going in about a year. Do you think that some of this Uyghur thing will go away when she goes away, or?
It's possible, Ron. Because I know. And I'm not going to get political here as far as this is concerned, but apparently she was trying to run for the governor of New York. Okay. And apparently that wasn't going well. So she just completely backed out at this point. All right. And she's not going to run for Congress again. So she's politically, she's kind of done right now as far as that.
And Bill, I'm making just a joke at this point, but she's probably so well off from her bribes from drone groups or whatever that she didn't have to work anymore.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, folks, just joking there. I don't know if she.
Oh yeah, we're not. Yeah,
yeah.
But it's a good point, Ron. That if we're looking for a victory right now, let's try to get a victory here in terms of them stopping the drones through customs.
The Uyghur thing would be the easiest victory for us.
I think this is something that's doable. I really do. So I would encourage you guys to go ahead and contact your senators and congressmen to see if we can get this addressed and taken care of, because it'll make a big difference.
Congress, you guys just wasted money because we're all getting stuff through eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just wasting the Customs Department's time and money, because anybody wants these drones could just easily get it from eBay.
Oh, and this is an interesting side note. Okay. Now, I got my Mavic 4 Pro. It was well over a month ago. All right. Middle of November.
Mm-hmm.
UPS sends me an invoice today for $36.75 for tariffs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this was from the South Korean seller who said that they would take care of everything. So I went ahead and I did a copy of that and I sent a screenshot of that to them. They refunded like $43 off my purchase price. They gave it back to me to take care of that.
Wow.
Yeah, which was really nice. I mean, this is a good seller. So this is one I'm going to leave a very positive review for out on eBay, because they did a great job on that. I was very, very pleased with them. They did a great job. But Ron, one of the other things too is the price on the Mini 5 Pro on Amazon. It's crazy. It's incredible. I mean, it's like normal price.
Right. The base unit was what, for sale for like $759.
Mm-hmm. And guess what?
Huh. Not sold by DJI, of course, by a third party.
Right. It's by a third party through Amazon. So I went ahead. Mine, it'll be here tomorrow, and it comes with one battery, but I bought extra batteries for that. And of course I have the controller. It comes with an M3 controller, which is really kind of, negligent to me, but I believe it's better to be prepared than not be prepared. And as I've been talking about preparing for the storm kind of a thing here, I think it's a good idea to have these. And I'm just going to rotate flying them, Ron. I mean, it's just like, we're just going to cycle through them and keep the batteries fresh. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, there's M3 controllers. I actually use those things, Bill, because sometimes I go out. I don't know if I'm going to fly or not. I just take a drone in a camera bag with other gear, and the big controllers take up too much room. You can slip that little N3 into a side pocket. And I know you want I know Marcus's problems, but I don't always fly in the bright sunlight. I don't always fly on a hot day. Like when I'm flying, at sunset or whatever, I don't care about the I can see the screen. You know what I mean? I'm not going to overheat. The issues that go against the small control user phone don't always affect me, especially in the winter months. So I like those little controllers because they're small and compact, kind of going along with like the Neo 2 type of thing. I only fly the Neo 2 with the N3 because it's nice and compact. I don't want to take a giant controller out with a little drone.
Now, one of the things that I found real interesting was having the RC Pro with the Mavic 3 Pro that I just bought. Okay, Ron, I'm still very impressed with the RC Pro. It's still an excellent controller. I was really impressed when I took it out for its flight with the number of nits. It was a very bright screen. Very impressed with it. It did a great job. But I had the hardest time finding for it was a cover that fit like right over the top of it because not a lot of people buy the RC Pros anymore. So I had to go out there and do a lot of research. I found it at B&H Photo, believe it or not. So I ended up getting one, and it fits right on top of it, and it's very snug and secure. So I'm really pleased with that because I want to with those, and I got one for the RC Pro too, and I'm getting a second one for my other RC Pro too because I want to protect those screens. Not just a glass screen protector, but having like a cover over that as well.
That's what I have for my Pro 2. I put the protect the glass protector on, but I also have I have a whole rubberized kit for my RC Pro 2, including a rubber thing for the screen that goes over top of the lens protector. So
and our friend Casey Crime Fighter here, I think drone guys like us won't really be impacted by these restrictions until we start craving new drones that we can't have. Yeah, and he's 100% right.
Yeah, I mean, he's exactly, until something like the Air 4 comes out or whatever, it isn't going to bother us.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a good point, Ron. I think, DJI does not ignore us. Now, I don't know what percentage we are of DJI sales here in the United States. I was doing some research and some people said they think that we're about 25% of DJI sales worldwide here in the United States, which would kind of make some sense, okay? Because we're not a majority of them, and we're not half of them, but 25% is a big chunk of change for DJI. And this is something that I wanted to kind of circle back to here was, we read through what DJI's reaction was. Ron, as I've said before, all right, and let's use just for argument's sake, 25% of DJI's revenue comes from the United States, all right? They're not going to take this lying down, all right? They're going to take this to court. And I know I mentioned that last night in the chat, that I really got to believe that parts of this probably are not constitutional, all right, in terms of, they're just flat out. There's no, it's I know this isn't a court of law, but this is just like, it's my way or the highway. This is the way it is. And, they're screaming national security here, but they haven't proven a thing. So I think the burden of proof is going to be on the federal government to be able to prove something.
We're going to come from a different angle because the court case they lost a month or two ago, the judge said that the Department of Defense did not have to prove some of their stuff that the courts would just, if the Department of Defense said something, that they would be granted a lot of leeway. So if they're going to run into that loophole again, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, and it all depends a lot of times on the judge that you get too. I mean,
sometimes, but if you're arguing a specific piece of law, then the law is the law. I mean, judge could interpret it different, but what if it's something that's really not interpreted? It's a black and white issue. Then, even the right judge may not help. They law. I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic, Bill. I kept saying the last time that DJI would go to court, and they went to court, and unfortunately they lost. So maybe not bode well for another court case. But again, usually when you do a court case like this, the drones can keep being sold until the court case is resolved. But that doesn't happen when it comes to this, the government, these drones, like they can stop it even before the court case is over, which doesn't happen in any other part of society.
Yeah, exactly. And
Like say if I sued you for something or another until it was proven in court or whatever, you can still keep doing it.
mm-hmm,
But with
exactly.
the government, these drones, it gets stopped. It doesn't matter if it's in court. It stopped just because they said it stopped.
Exactly here. So
And sometimes the government recently they've ignored a judge's orders and did things anyways. So yeah, I wish DJI while in court, I hope they can come up with a different angle in a case. I mean, I think that the only way they're going to get things solved is negotiation.
exactly. Okay. And that's one of the things
I don't know what, if I don't know if the U.S. government is willing to negotiate with them. If they are, I don't know what their requirements are going to be. Maybe they're unrealistic, but I think some sort of negotiation is the only way around this.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ron. I think that's what's going to take. And what type and form that's going to be, I don't know. And no one really knows. It's still been, and I've seen people talking about it again. And in terms of, are we looking at maybe DJI wanting to build a place here in the United States and employ United States workers and sell all those drones here in the United States only? Who knows? It could take that form, because I know this administration has been very favorable to companies who have decided, instead of building plants overseas, build them here and give them incredible tax breaks. I know Ford was deciding to I think they were going to build a plant down in Mexico, and they changed their mind and built it here in the United States, and they got some incredible tax benefits and advantages here. So, something like that, it could happen. I don't know. Is that what they're looking for? That maybe the DJI shares that technology with the United States? Who knows? I mean, something along those lines. I don't know, Ron. We could be. This is something that could happen. And I kind of want to wrap things up here, because I do want to get some time for Steeler Nation here.
Good nation, Steeler Nation. And the only thing we didn't touch on at all, Bill, is again, the U.S. drone makers, they're not looking to make consumer drones. The U.S. drone makers not looking to make Neos and Minis or whatever. So the consumer is going to be left out in the cold when they're making all their high dollar enterprise drones.
Exactly. Okay. And we'll be sitting here, doing our 15th firmware update to the Mini 5 Pro, and while the world, while everybody is flying the Mini 6 Pro, and
I mean, what the negotiate needs to be, Bill, is the U.S. government and DJI need to negotiate what drones can come out here. Neos, Minis, all the drones that the U.S. companies have no interest in making, they should be allowed to come through.
Exactly.
I mean, I can see the government say no enterprises, no matrices anymore, or no this, that, and DJI will have to give in on that, I guess. But there's no reason to buy Neos and Minis and things like that have no. The U.S. drone makers will never make those drones in our lifetime. Those
exactly
cheap drones.
Now, okay, well, we're gonna kind of I think we've run this through the gambit here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I want to, as we close this portion of the show out, I want to make sure to everybody to know, you still have your drones. You can still go out tomorrow morning and fly your DJI drones.
Nobody's bricking any drones.
No drones have been bricked. You can still go out and buy new DJI drones. Everything that's available right now, you can get. All right. It's just going to be going forward. We won't be able to do this. So don't look upon it as the glass being half empty. It's more, to me, it's more than half full. So have that kind of attitude about this. Okay. And that will help you guys tremendously as far as that's concerned. All right. Now we're going to do about 5 minutes of Steeler Nation, and then I have a special 5 minutes that I want to do before we wrap things up before Christmas here. So we're going to go ahead and get Steeler Nation kicked off here. Now, this is the Steeler Nation portion of the show, guys. We're kind of done with the drone talk, so I want to lay that out clearly for everybody. So, because I know I've gotten some flack for this before, and I want to make sure that everybody is cool with this.
If you don't like football, you can tune off right now.
Yeah, you're welcome to leave the stream if you want to do that, or tune out for 5 minutes. We're gonna be back here. So the first thing that I want to say, and this is kind of funny, with everything that transpired in that game, Ron, the one thing that really impressed me in that game, all right, and it was an incomplete pass, but Aaron Rodgers threw the football. It must have gone at least 60 to 65 yards. It was that wide receiver for the Steelers that has a hyphen in his last name. I forget his name. All right. And he almost got his hands on it. All right. But Ron, the arc that he had on that ball and the arm strength he had at 42 years old, 65 yards down. Did you see that? Did you see that play?
Yeah, Rodgers keeps getting better and better, it seems, every game.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I was just literally 42 years old. He's throwing a football like that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was astounded. I could not believe that.
Just thinking we had a more talented receiver group, and then we got to bring up Metcalf. Bill, explain what was going on with Metcalf and that fan, that Detroit Lions fan.
Now, I saw today a video taken from in the stands after that transpired, and the guy said something to the effect like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to have had happen. Okay. On video, they got the guy saying that the one with the hair that DK Metcalf kind of pushed.
Crazy hair,
yeah. He said that to him. Now, it's also been rumored that this guy had agitated DK Metcalf previously. All right. So there's a history here behind this. All right. And the guy has already lined up an attorney. He was doing this on purpose. Okay. This was completely 100% on purpose. Okay. To file a lawsuit and get Metcalf in trouble. All right.
Of course, that didn't stop the NFL and the Steelers from suspending Metcalf for the last 2 games.
Right. He got suspended for the last 2 games, which he's going to fight. I think he's going to, in my opinion, okay, 1 game suspension is fine. 2 I think is a little heavy. All right.
But if he fights it and loses it, could the suspension go to the playoffs?
Yeah, and that would be a real problem because the Steelers haven't done real well in the playoffs lately. Okay, it's been what
but the way they're going, they're looking more and more like maybe a home playoff game.
Well, they would be looking at their seat. I looked at that before we started the broadcast tonight. They would be next to bottom in terms of seeding in as far as like the division winners. Okay, so they might have a home game, first game, but other than that, they would be on the road. All right.
Right.
Is how I think that'll line up.
Right.
Now, okay, the play that ended the game, all right, everybody's going bonkers. And I knew, Ron, instantly, all right, when there's, I don't know who it was for the Steelers, stopped, I think it was at St. Brown, stopped his forward progress, okay? Game was over right there, all right?
Yeah.
It was over, done, all right?
Yeah.
So, and he goes and he tosses it to Goff. Goff runs in the end zone. And everybody's going nuts and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? And Aaron Rodgers was right. You saw him on the sidelines. Game's over. Game's over. Yeah. That toss, that was you didn't hear a whistle. There should have been a whistle, and that was a mistake. And the referee, okay, those referees had a rough day that day. I mean, a rough day. They were calling some things that I hadn't seen called in a long time in that game. For example, Washington in the end zone getting called for offensive pass interference for the Steelers when he bumped into a guy. Totally he's running his route.
And he's gigantic. He's going to get in a lot of people's way.
Yeah, the dude is massive, and boom, he hit somebody. Oh,
and the guy kind of got hurt and had to come out. And later on, the guy got back in the game and he ran to Washington again.
Yeah.
Now, Bill, I heard something that this goes way back to the Wayback Machine. Bill Warren, was it Jaron Warren? What's Warren's the running back's first name?
Jalen.
He had 2 long runs of over 30 yards. They said it was the first Steeler to have 2 long overruns over 30 yards since Frenchy Fuqua.
Yeah. 2 45-yard touchdowns.
We're going the Wayback Machine, aren't we?
That is the Wayback Machine. And Frenchy Fuqua, do you remember who he had? He had shoes. He had
the
with
platform
the heels in it that had goldfish in them.
Yeah, platform people, younger people don't remember the platform shoes, but
oh yeah,
but
they made a big
when you
deal
start
about
talking about Frenchy Fuqua, you're really going the Wayback Machine.
That is the
and for anybody who doesn't know, he was the Steelers' main tailback before Franco.
Yes, exactly. And by the way,
he didn't leave. He played on it. He still played on a couple seasons with Franco as the kind of backup, or
By the way, did you know today is the anniversary of the Immaculate Reception?
And did you see that thing I sent you? Somebody I know in South Jersey has that. What do you call it? The not what do you call the playbook? The game. What do you call you buy it before the game?
The scorecard.
Yeah, it's another word I want to say for it. But he went to the game and he has the thing you buy outside.
The program, yeah, the
program bought it for $1. Can you imagine that? That worked had the program for the Immaculate Reception game?
Wow. Now this was back in the day. All right, I was at my friend's house, and this was back in the day when they didn't broadcast the games locally. All right.
Oh.
And so the only way you could catch the game live was listening to it on radio. So I'm in my friend's house in the kitchen, and we heard Jack, the late Jack Fleming, announcer for the Steelers, call the play with Myron Cope, the other great Steeler announcer there. And then the next morning, the local NBC affiliate had that on. All right.
Oh, you were blacked out. You couldn't see it live, or
right? We were blacked out.
We watched it. We watched it live on whatever the network broadcast was.
So what people had to do was they could drive up to Erie, Pennsylvania. All right. And they would rent rooms up in a hotel and watch the game. All right. Literally, they would do that.
Yeah.
And now what was interesting was that next morning, I stayed home from church and I had my tape recorder out, and I remembered the part where it was, and I tape recorded it, and I got it on a cassette where it was Kirk Dowdy was actually did the call for that game. I'll never forget that. Yeah. But I got a tape of that somewhere, someplace.
And of course, this was before all the Super Bowls. So the Raiders were kind of favored in this game. This was basically that was the game where the Pittsburgh dynasty was born.
Oh yeah,
because this is 72 season. This is Pittsburgh's first good year. I mean, before that they had losing season after losing season.
Exactly. So.
But we went deep in this. We went Steeler Nation back to the old days here. But Bill, were you impressed with this victory of the Lions? Here's a fun fact: they held the Lions at 18 yards rushing. When's the last time the Steelers held somebody to 18 yards rushing?
Well, what was it? The third quarter? I think the Lions only had 2 or 3 plays from scrimmage in the third quarter.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean.
And most of the Lion offense happened late in the game when they were kind of in, what do you call it? Like, basically playing 2-minute warning, even beyond a 2-minute warning. They got most of that offense going 2-minute warning near the end of the game.
Well, they have the Browns coming up this week. All right. Which, believe it or not, I mean, the Browns almost beat the Bills last weekend.
Well, I mean, the Browns have a quarterback now.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true.
But on top of that, the Browns lost their rookie running back who had been one of their better players. He's out for the rest of the year. They just keep losing people, whatever. The Browns have a good defense and they're not terrible quarterback anymore. It used to be the Browns quarterback would be, the Pitts, but now Sanders actually looks like he knows what he's doing out there, and he's probably going to be good if they ever get people around him.
Okay, Adam, just to let you know, we start talking of football about 5 minutes to 9 every show. We start at 8 p.m. Eastern, so we talk about drones for about 55 minutes, close to an hour, and then right around 9 o'clock Eastern time, we go ahead and start talking football. So we do talk about drones from about 8 p.m. Eastern to about 9 p.m. Eastern. So you're welcome to go back and rewatch the stream if you want to catch the drone portion of the show. And again, I'm very clear, and I announced that we're going to be talking about football, and I actually put up a banner and a graphic so people know about that. So, as far as going forward, they got the Browns coming up, and then the last game of the year, they got to go to Baltimore. All right.
Did they win or lose this weekend? I know Jackson got hurt and Huntley had to come in, but I'm not
I
sure.
forget, Ron. I
Anyhow, whether they won or lost, it was another weak performance. I think they could take the Ravens in Baltimore the way they're playing.
I do too. I'm more fearful of the game against Cleveland than I am in a game against Baltimore. I think they'll win in Baltimore. I don't think that'll be a problem.
Jackson misses backup. They have nothing to play for. I doubt they play Jackson the rest of the year, right?
Oh yeah, Baltimore lost to the Patriots. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Again, the quarterback Jackson, he messes back up. They're not going to set him out anymore this year with a messed up back for nothing, right?
No.
So you're going to be playing what's his name, Huntley, Chad Huntley or whatever his name is, and he's an okay backup quarterback, but he's a backup quarterback.
Steelers beat him last year near at the end of the season, so they'll probably do the same. It'll probably be more of the same as far as that's concerned.
But the AFC's really flipped around. I mean, like, how about, of course, Kansas City's out now, and how about, Jacksonville knocked off the top seed Denver.
Yeah, that really.
Jacksonville's made great strides. Jacksonville's right in there with New England and Denver as
Jacksonville did one of these
as the big three.
They were like this, and now all of a sudden, boom, they're like that. Okay. One thought
Trevor Lawrence is playing the best football of his pro career. Their defense is stout. So I mean, Pittsburgh's got a rough road through the playoffs, Bill, and of course we didn't even mention Buffalo's still around. How many teams make the playoffs now? There with including Pittsburgh, Buffalo. That's 5 teams.
The division winners plus I think there's two wild cards.
So 6 teams.
Right.
So I'm missing one. I'm missing who one other team is going to make it in AFC. Oh, the Chargers. The Chargers will be the wild card.
Yeah.
Unless things drastically change.
Yeah.
So of those teams, who do you think Pittsburgh could beat of those 5 teams? Can they beat Buffalo on the road in Buffalo?
Well, I think that game, if because Buffalo would be a wild card, they play that.
So they can beat Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
Maybe. Okay. And
can they beat the Chargers?
No, I don't think they can beat the
Chargers. Can they beat the Jacksonville Jags?
No.
The Denver Broncos?
No.
The New England Patriots?
No, because they lost the Patriots earlier this year.
I mean, of course, a lot of these teams are inexperienced in playoffs, so I don't know how these first-time playoff teams will do, though, Bill. And another thing for this, I know you got to stop this in a second here. Another thing, the announcers made a big deal over that you hate. They kept talking. This is Pittsburgh's 22nd non-losing season in a row.
Yeah. Well, you know what I said?
Tomlin had 19 of them, and Tomlin either tied or passed Tom Landry for the most non-losing seasons for a head coach.
Well, you know what? My response was in the comments. I said, and the last playoff win was 2016.
Nobody remembers. Yeah,
nobody remembers because it's been that long ago. So we'll just. I'm just gonna.
And we'll throw the Tom Landry thing in there. Not with all those non-losing seasons. Tom also won a couple of Super Bowls, was in a whole bunch of Super Bowls, was in a whole bunch of NFC Championship games. Tom got a lot further.
Yep.
You didn't have to see Tom knocked out in the first round.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
we're gonna go ahead.
Okay, folks. We're done with Steeler Nation, but Bill, you got to remind him, we're maybe the only channel out there that followed the Steelers all the way from training camp, maybe all the way to the playoffs. Actually, we've been following them since the draft. So we followed them all the way to the draft, and we're going to follow them all the way to a home playoff game in Pittsburgh, hopefully.
Hopefully. All right.
And who knows? Maybe they'll invite us up for the game.
That could actually happen. Going to read to you guys from Luke chapter 2. So Joseph also went up. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace on those whom his favor rests. Guys, you know, this is the bottom line. This is why we do Christmas. This is the whole reason for Christmas. All right. And what I want to convey a message of peace, joy, and love to all you guys out there. Hope you're able to spend time with family and friends and loved ones, and are able to relax and enjoy the holiday. That you have safe travels, and that you remember that this is the reason why we celebrate this season. Okay. I wanted to close. I know I've done this for several years in a row. I wanted to go ahead and do that. Ron, you have any other thoughts here before we wrap things up?
No, outside of wish everybody Merry Christmas and and hope everybody has a great holiday and peace and joy and all that good stuff. And thanks for all the support through the year on Bill's show, our show, all the shows. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I want to echo Ron as well too. Thank each and every one of you. I did get some cards from several of you guys. Thank you so much for those. I really appreciate that, and some wonderful emails from you guys. Again, thank you guys all so much. We appreciate that. I may have a replay next week. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet, or we may just take the week off. I know Ron and Marcus and DeMarco are taking the week off for.
Yeah, I'm going to take the week off from all drone shows next week.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna do that as well. If I do one, I may just it would just be a replay. So, guys, hope you have a wonderful, safe, happy, and healthy Christmas, and we will see you soon. As for always, it's still a great day to fly. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Good night.
And Merry Christmas.